Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and welcome to the second episode of our new weekly series, the Fan Creation Friday. I always post up in the Discord a form so you guys can fill out and give me your custom card designs that fits that week's theme. So the theme for this week, with LR Bardock's EZA being the current big thing in the game and what everyone's been talking about in the lead up to it being announced, what it was going to be like, and then of course now it's come out, we get to see what he's like in the game. So the theme for this week is for you guys to give me your custom EZA'S for an LR that already exists in the game. So just like last week, and will be an ongoing theme of the series, this series is open to entries for people in the Discord only. So the link to join the Discord will be in the description down below. That's where the form will be posted every single week in the Creations channel, pinned of course, and you guys can go there, submit your entries, and then we will go through a bunch of them. So a couple of the mods helped me to judge, as well as last week's winner. So shout out to Vegeta, who was the winner from the first episode for his custom Dokkan Fest Ginyu. And so he will be helping to pick. Obviously, the final decision for which one out of the ones that makes it into the video wins is up to me, but I do take advice, obviously, from the other judges as well. So let us go ahead and jump straight in and see the first fan-made LR EZA right now. Okay, so for the first entry for this week's episode, we have the submission from DBZ. Shout out to you, I probably butchered your name horribly. And this is an EZA for the Tech LR, Rose, Goku Black, and Zamasu. So this is an EZA that I personally am very excited for. I talked this one over with the other guys a little bit, because at first I wasn't too sure on this one, but when we talked it through a little bit, I definitely think this would be a very good EZA for them. So we know their leader skill will be 4 key and HP attack and defense 120, because it follows along with the other LRs from that meta. Their post EZA 12 key super is greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes colossal damage to the enemy, and raises defense by 30% for 3 turns. So obviously you get a couple of stacks on that. If you get additional supers, then obviously you're going to have even more defense. And then their 18 key super is high chance to perform a crit, so 50%, and it's for 1 turn. So obviously if they do then get an additional or even a normal attack, that would still apply to that as well. Mega colossal damage, and then raises defense by 30% for 6 turns. So you can get a good amount of stacking going with them. If you prioritize additionals for them, then obviously them getting their 18 key and then their 12 key super is going to give them quite a lot of defense. So their passive is recovers 15% HP at the start of the turn, attack and defense 66%, and reduces damage received by 33%. So this was the part I was a little bit unsure of, because 66% does seem a little bit low, even with 33% damage reduction. But you have to remember that they are a Big Bad Bosses unit as well. So obviously at full link level 10, Big Bad Bosses gives you an extra 25% defense. So their defense is going to be fairly solid before supering, but they're probably going to be more of a slot 2 unit, because obviously once they get some super attacks off, their defense is going to be very high, and then they have the 33% damage reduction. So they get 1 key up to +5 and 30% attack up to 150 with each attack received. So once you've been hit a bunch of times, we're going to see that attack stat jump up. And then this is a part that I do really like. Guards all attacks and performs an additional attack with a medium chance of becoming a super when there are 2 or more enemies. So for Super Battle Road, they guard, which is really, really useful. And then they get a guaranteed additional super when there's only 1 enemy. So this is going to play into this massive amount of defense stacking here really, really well, because you get the 18 key super, they automatically do an additional 12 key super if there's 1 enemy, and then that's going to make you more likely to proc the hidden potential additional, and then you could get a 3rd super attack. So if they super attack 3 times, their defense is going to be insanely high, on top of having 33% damage reduction as well. And then obviously the guard is nice for Super Battle Road. So not crazy OP, but I do think this unit would be very strong. I could definitely imagine seeing them hit insanely high defense numbers post Super. So they are one of those units where when you look at the team list at the start of the turn, their defense isn't really going to be that high on the first turn. But then once you've started to get a couple of supers off, that number is going to get quite high. And then that's coupled with damage reduction. And then bear in mind, of course, a load of the other Rose and Zamasu units also do support fellow Rose and Zamasu units, so they're going to be even better when run alongside them. So definitely a very strong EZA for Rose and Zamasu, so shout out to DBZ for that one. So let us go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have the entry from Trap Time. Now this is one of the ones that was picked by our boy Gogeta, who obviously won that right by winning last week's episode, so I wanted to make sure I included this one because I do like this one. It's for a unit that I'm very much looking forward to the EZA for, which is the Int Prime Battle Super Saiyan Vegeta. So his leader skill will be Pure Saiyan's 4 key, 100% attack and defense. Maybe I would like this to be 120, but I feel like these units you don't really use as leaders anyway. Free to play obviously could be a good option, but for most people you're probably going to have better leads. You want to be using this guy on your strong category team, so I'm not too worried about the level of the leader skill. His 12 key super attack becomes colossal damage to the enemy and raises defense for 1 turn, and then his 18 key super is greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn and does mega colossal damage. So then his passive is attack 50% and defense 100%. Then he gets 20% attack and defense per attack received up to 100%. So once he's been hit 5 times, he's going to have 200% defense, 150% attack. So very good. But then he also launches 2 additional attacks with a high chance of becoming a super. So obviously, you know, with the dupes, because he's a free-to-play unit, you should have him rainbowed. He can potentially super attack 4 times in 1 turn. So if you're getting the 18 key super, you're getting greatly raising on your attack and defense, and then the potential to fire off a couple of other supers that are also raising your defense for that turn. So once he gets off those super attacks, his defense is actually going to be very, very high, especially when his passive is fully built up, which makes him really good for some of the harder content like longer events. And then he also has, this last part here, he has damage reduction of 15% on the first turn. Now, at first I was a bit confused by this, but I quite like the way this is done because he has to build up his defense by being hit a bunch of times. So in a long form event, you're going to be able to take hits early on that are a bit weaker than the attacks you're going to have to face later on. So you can build that up fairly quickly over a few turns, and then obviously his defense is going to be looking good for the rest of the event. But for something like Super Battle Road, these units that need multiple turns to build up, they're obviously not as impressive on turn 1. So this guy comes in on turn 1 with 100% defense, but he also has 15% damage reduction. So 15% isn't a crazy amount, but I think that definitely helps to make him good in turn 1 of Super Battle Road, because obviously if you're not putting him in slot 1, he's going to be firing off a bunch of supers and raising his defense anyway. But you could probably get away with putting him in slot 1 because of that little bit of extra damage reduction. Maybe if he takes a super, that wouldn't be too great, but again, once he gets his supers off, he's going to be looking really good. So shout out to Trap Time, very good EZA for the Int Super Saiyan Vegeta, and shout out to Gogeta for selecting this one. So let us go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have an entry from Sippin' Hot Purple, and this is an EZA for the LR Team Bardock. So this is an EZA that I would be very excited for us to get, because obviously they are a really good link partner for the new LR Bardock, the physical EZA Bardock, but they are pretty much unrunnable in harder content. So an EZA for them would definitely be good, and you know, maybe being able to get the last 2 copies to actually rainbow them as well. But so the post EZA leader skill is Team Bardock 3 key and 160. Obviously the free to play unit team needs all the help it can get, so high leader skill is perfectly fine for them. And then the 12 key super attack is greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, does colossal damage. The 18 key super is mega colossal damage, raises all allies attack and defense by 30% for 2 turns, high chance to perform a crit for 1 turn as well. So these guys again are one of those sort of LRs where you really want to be able to get their 18 key and then additional into the 12 key in 1 turn, because this would then also be a high chance to crit, and you are greatly raising your defense as well. So the post EZA passive is attack and defense 120. all allies key 3 and attack and defense 35%, and then Team Bardock allies still get the 30% attack and defense as well as also getting a critical hit chance plus 10%. Then they also launch an additional super attack when performing a super attack. So there you go. As long as you super, they get a guaranteed additional super. So in harder content, you could deliberately get the 12 key super, then they're going to do another one, and they'll have greatly raised their defense twice, which is very good. And then they get a guaranteed crit against space traveling warriors or extreme enemies. So this does cover quite a wide scope of units in the game. So this would make them not only a very good support unit, they would also be a very strong unit in their own right. And so yeah, that rotation of them with the physical LR Bardock would then become incredibly powerful. As well as the fact that even with this first part of their support passive here, you could just run them as a support unit on basically any team that they fit on, and you don't really need to worry about the Team Bardock bit, even though that is obviously a nice extra buff. So once they get off a couple of supers, their defense is going to be insanely high, so this turns this unit from being, like I said at the start, basically unrunnable in some of the harder content into actually being a very powerful unit that's providing good support as well as holding their own. So this is exactly what I would like to see for this unit, so had to include a Team Bardock one, and this one was very, very strong. So shout out once again to Sippin' Hot Purple for this entry, and let us move on to the next one. Okay, so here we are, last and obviously not least, we have this week's winning entry for the LR EZA'S, and that goes to Torrance for his EZA of Tech Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now I want to give a special shout out to CJ Blaze, who also submitted a very good LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA. I really liked that one when I was first going through the responses. Gogeta did pick that one out as well, but when I got to this one, I discussed it with some of the other judges, and I thought this one was slightly better. So shout out to CJ Blaze, but this is the one that we decided to go with for Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So those of you who've been around the channel for a long time know that when he first came out, he was one of my favourite LRs. I've always loved the Super Saiyan 3 team. And then he kind of dropped off like fairly quickly. He was actually the first summonable LR that I rainbowed as well. So yeah, very excited to see a good EZA for him. So his leader skill, Super Tech 4 key 130, Extreme Tech 3 key and 90%. And then we have the 12 key super attack. So raises defense for 1 turn, does colossal damage to the enemy with a medium chance to stun. And then we have the 18 key super, attacks effective against all types, mega colossal damage to the enemy, and massively lowers defense. So this is really good. Obviously the idea is to make the 18 key super as strong as possible. And so yeah, having attacks effective against all types as an added effect is really, really good here. And then the post EZA passive is key +3 and defense 150. And then he gets attack 150% when key is 17 or lower. So this now means if you can only get the 12 key super attack, it is actually going to be able to do a reasonable amount of damage, whilst also raising your defense for 1 turn. And then he gets 200% attack and 70% defense when performing an ultra super. So this was the main thing that he really needed to fix the unit, is the fact that getting the ultra super obviously did nerf your defense previously. But now you actually get an extra 70% defense, and so this guy is going to be looking crazy on a turn where you can get his 18 key super and then additional into the 12 key. Because his attack stat buff from the 18 key remains. I mean, you see that now pre-EZA, that if he does additional into the 12 key can actually do some pretty reasonable damage. And then obviously when it comes to things like Super Battle Road, you can deliberately go for the 12 key super to get that defense raised for 1 turn and the chance to stun, and he is now getting an actual attack buff from the passive as well. So this one, not particularly complicated, but it gets right to the point. It fixes the main issue with the unit, gives him some extra attack where he really needed it on the 12 key, removes the defensive debuff on the 18 key. So this LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku would be very, very powerful, and I would be very excited to run him on the Super Saiyan 3 team. So shout out to Torrance for this one, and congratulations for being the winning entry for the 2nd episode of Fan Creation Friday. Reach out to me via the Discord, and we'll discuss ready for next week, and you guys will get to help pick the selections for the video for next week. So shout out to everybody who submitted. We got almost double the submissions that we got for the first episode, so hopefully we can keep this series continuing to grow. Obviously, the more entries there are, the more work there is for me to do, but it is fun seeing all of the custom cards that you guys come up with. So stay tuned in the Discord. I usually post the theme for the new week either on the Monday or the Tuesday. So if you do want to be able to join for next week's episode, make sure you join the Discord from the link down below, and keep an eye out in the Fan Creations channel so you can see when the form gets posted. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Shout out to everybody who entered, and the mods, and also last week's winner Vegeta for helping to pick the entries for this episode. And make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, smash the like button, check out all the links in the description, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.